Good morning. Okay. I'm gonna get us a little better lighting. See if I can. I'm trying to see if I can put on Do Not Disturb so no one calls and cuts it off. No. We'll just hope that that doesn't happen. Okay. Good morning, y'all.
Good morning.
I'm Haley. Sorry about the long setup time trying to get the lighting and everything right. I'm owner of Lovely's Hair, located in Richmond, Virginia. And this is Brittany.
Hello, good morning.
And Brittany is going to be here with us in this conversation about natural hair products and everything that you might have questions about in concerns to doing your natural hair. So, let me make sure it's a little closer. So, all that to say, since no one's here, do you want to talk about any common questions that you think you're running into, seeing clients talk about with product selection, natural hair stuff?
I think some of the common questions we run into is I think step one is always like the shampooing process. How often to shampoo, what to use to shampoo. Those are common things that we run into, especially for the beginning stages of taking care of your hair. So what are some products that or the steps that you can recommend when it comes to shampooing the hair, because that's like a huge concern.
Yeah, so shampooing the hair I think is one that I think mostly the newly naturals get some confusion on, just because co-washing is very popular, and I think because of bad experiences with shampoo, everyone like thinks it's a bad thing. Not everyone, but a good community of naturals do. So I would say taking your time, that's like the biggest thing I give people tips on to start with first. But besides that, make sure you're choosing a shampoo that's hydrating, moisturizing, and helps with detangling versus stripping your hair, because that's why everyone gets angry, because it's like they feel like their hair gets drier or they get a lot of tangles and it's more of a fight. So having a more moisturizing one.
Right. So what's the purpose of shampooing? Because I feel like people just get confused on, again, the use of products and when to shampoo. So why is it important to actually shampoo the hair?
It's important because the hair gets dirty. Nothing's gonna work if your hair is dirty. When I say nothing's gonna work, I mean the products that you put on is going to not latch to the hair. It's not gonna be as effective. It's kind of like putting lotion on when you already have oil on your skin. Like, it's kind of like layering, build up, and creating um, more of a hassle, because if you have too much product, then nothing's really going to work well on your hair. So I would say cleansing and having the right shampoo just makes your products work better. That's my answer. And makes your hair more hydrated too.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely a step that you want to make sure that you're doing appropriately and with the right products, because again, if you have that buildup and constant buildup and you're not shampooing correctly, then that's going to prohibit the maintenance of your hair and also your curl texture too, because you have consistent buildup. In addition to shampooing, we also encourage conditioning the hair. Why condition the hair in general? Some people leave it out. They do maybe just leave-in conditioner. Why is it important to do actual condition at the shampoo bowl?
I would say the reason why it's important is because without that layer of moisture, your hair isn't going to operate as smoothly when it comes to detangling, when it comes to styling. You need a conditioner just to smooth the cuticle down and make it more manageable. I would say when it comes down to choosing conditioners, a lot of people have troubles because they're not sure why they're using it. Like, I feel like people who use leave-in conditioner sometimes don't know why they're using that over a conditioner. I would say you can use both, but definitely rinse out your conditioner. I know some people use conditioners and just leave it in. If that's not the purpose for that product, I don't recommend doing that because it can leave film on the hair. So I would definitely say rinse out your normal conditioner and use your leave-in conditioner to hydrate before your style. Don't use your leave-in conditioner as a conditioner because they have different ingredients for different purposes. So did that answer the question?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yes, that's good information.
Yeah.
It's definitely important to actually condition the hair after you shampoo. And if you also need a leave-in conditioner, then that's fine too, but don't substitute one over the other.
That's good. Yeah.
Because again, they both have different benefits.
Yes.
So you want to make sure you are following the appropriate steps when it comes to shampooing, conditioning, and then treating the hair after you've done that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to deep conditioning,
Mm-hmm.
that's another hot topic that people are concerned about or even do or overdo.
Yes, ma'am.
Why is it important to deep condition, and what's the reason for it?
I feel like deep conditioners have different reasons depending on what you need. So the purpose of deep conditioning is really just to give your hair that extra nourishing or that extra nourishment that it needs if your hair has gone through something that has compromised it, basically. So if my hair has been colored, I'm going to use something with like protein or something that's going to keep my hair strong because color makes the hair more brittle and prone to break. If my hair is very dry, I'm going to use something like a mask, something that's going to really like give my hair the deep moisture that it needs. If your hair is, let's say, low porosity, I'll use a deep conditioner that helps with porosity just to open up the cuticle so it can receive moisture better. So I think a lot of people just know deep condition, but they don't think of why and which one they need. So I would definitely say knowing why is important. And deep conditioning isn't something that you should keep in overnight. I think a lot of people do that, and I've done it. I'm not free from this. I've done it too, but I've learned through experience that that's bad because it's kind of like if you sit in the bath too long and your fingers just start to get pruny, you can over soften your hair. Like that is a thing. And I know people want super soft hair, but you don't want it so soft that it becomes mushy and starts to be more prone to break because it has no strength to it anymore. It's just super soft and slippery and almost becomes gummy. The hair can become gummy. So you don't want that. So that would be my spiel on deep conditioning.
Yeah, I definitely think in general with products you should shop with purpose and not popularity.
Amen.
Because again, you want to treat the hair in the process and make sure you're treating it correctly when it comes to products. So another thing that I've heard a lot of when it comes to choosing products is moisture of the hair. I feel like per seasons, we always hear people say, my hair is so dry, it's so dry, I don't know what to do. So what are some products that people can use like throughout the week or daily that they can use to maintain the moisture or boost the moisture in their hair?
So when it comes to products for moisture, I think everybody's story is different. Like depending on what your hair type is, what your hair feels like, your moisturizer might be different from another person's. So let's say you're a girl who's wearing curls, and wearing her curls out in its natural state, that moisturizer might be a leave-in conditioner spray. Like that might just add the moisture that your hair needs. But let's say you have like twists or something that's like more wrapped together, you can use like a cream moisturizer, something that you can like work through with your fingers without disturbing your style. So I think there's many types of moisturizers. Some are in like bottles like pink lotion. With the line that we use, there's Shea Butter Moisture Lock that's kind of like lotiony, or there's like a whipped cream like the growth cream that's a lot thicker. So it really depends on the person and what their hair needs, I would say. But moisturizers are not something that you just apply every day unless your hair needs to be moisturized, because that's when you can get that tackiness in your hair too.
Exactly. And I know a lot of people resort to oils. Are oils a good option when it comes to moisturizing the hair?
That is a debatable thing. I would say no. I know a lot of people think of oil as a moisturizer, but it's really just a sealant. So it will seal in your moisture from the product, but it won't actually give it the moisture. So I don't use oils as moisturizer. That's not my thing per se. I know there are other naturals who believe in it. I say if it works for you, do it, but I don't think it really helps to allow moisture to come into the hair if you're using that before any product. It blocks moisture. I think of it like, water and oil don't mix. Like if you're putting oil on before you put on your moisturizing product, it'll prevent it from working. So I always use that last to seal in the style, not to moisturize.
Right, because those kind of products, the more like lotion based, you want to seal that in to the
Mm-hmm.
hair. So that's when you actually put the oil to give a little bit of ump, a little bit of shine to
Mm-hmm.
help seal in that moisture. Are
Mm-hmm.
there other products or techniques that people can use when it comes to, especially like transitioning for the seasons?
Mm-hmm.
You know, our hair goes through different phases. Are there any products or techniques that you recommend that will help people transition through different seasons?
I would definitely say, products that will help you transition through different seasons. So there's a lot of them. I would say a biggest one for me is leave-in conditioners because I think a lot of people don't use them as often as they could. Um, like if I'm in a protective style like this, I'll use the leave-in to spray in between my hair to keep my hair moist. I'll use it if my curls are out, so that's a different seasonal look. I'll use it before doing any type of braiding style. So I would definitely say a leave-in conditioner is one you should always have. I prefer a spray because it's easy to apply. Um, Also, I would say, that's a great question. The rosemary spray. That's something that's really good through seasons because I think a lot of us go through changes with our scalp when the seasons change, and you want something that's going to refresh your scalp and keep it cleansed and keep it stimulated for your growth. So I would definitely say the rosemary spray as well. And I would say a natural oil, one that's not heavy because you do want to have that oil to seal your hair when you are doing styles, and that's something that you should just keep in your routine but not have to use every day.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes into leave-in conditioners, I know a lot of people use those products. Now, I do see a difference where there's more like cream base versus more liquid spray base.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know which one to specifically use for your hair? Because I feel like the spray, for me personally, is better versus a cream base.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you know which one works best for your hair type?
I would say that's a loaded question. I would say first off, try. You know, that's one thing you can figure out through trial and error. But I also will say normally finer textures like the spray, hair that's not very dense like a liquid. When I say a spray, I mean a more liquid like spray. If your hair isn't like extremely dense, but if your hair is denser or a tighter curl, normally a cream just adds more slip and allows it to get through the hair more deeply, where it could weigh down fine textures if you're using a cream. So I would say light liquid for fine to medium textures and a cream for dense, tightly curled hair.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. So it's kind of like trial and error,
Mm-hmm.
possibly, but don't overdo it
No, please.
with the product again because you want your style to last throughout the week. So you don't want to add product that causes additional buildup on top of what you're already putting with your oils and
Girl.
all of the above. You don't want to do those kind of things. So when it comes to transitioning and prepping your hair for shampooing, is there anything that you should do prior to shampooing?
I would say everybody's different. I don't do anything but make sure the hair is detangled. That's really it. Um, Now that's a lie. If I have a client who has like a buildup in her scalp, I'll spray the rosemary spray because that's like a pre-shampoo. It breaks down buildup. So let's say you had a protective style in and you had those clumps of buildup. You need something to break that up before you go shampoo. So I would use a rosemary spray for that. I know some people use apple cider vinegar. That's not my thing per se, but if your situation is like where you have to address a large amount of buildup or dirt, you might want to prep your hair before that because all that dirt, when you hit the shampoo bowl, it could cause a lot of matting. So you want to work that out before you get to the shampoo. You want to make sure you work out any knots in the hair, any like really caught up like balls of anything. I know protective styles can get crazy. So you want to break that up before shampooing. But in most cases, I would say no. If you're using a moisturizing shampoo, you shouldn't have to oil your hair before you do it. Some people believe in that. I don't. Um, but yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah. When it comes to talking about buildup, I know a lot of people struggle with that. How do you treat that? How do you address it? What products do you use when you are that client that has just prone to buildup in the scalp? What do you do?
If you're that client who is prone to buildup, know yourself and not don't allow it to get so bad. That's really my biggest answer. I think there are times where you're already there and you have to address it. So in that case, just don't rip through the buildup. It depends on what case you're in. So if you're in a protective style, make sure you're working through your buildup in small sections when you're taking it out, if that's the buildup you're talking about. Or if you're someone who just like had a style and caused buildup in your hair by mixing the wrong products, that's something you can like easily like just get out of your hair by using like a sulfate shampoo to like strip out any unnecessary buildup that's on your hair. But for the most part, I would say that's something you shouldn't do more than once a month. Like you don't really have to use sulfates a lot. A lot of those sulfates can strip your hair, so it's only necessary when you have a lot of buildup and you need to get it out.
Yeah, that is so true. Because I know a lot of people will come in, they will have protective styles, which is normal to have buildup because you don't have access to really shampoo the scalp like you normally do. Or a lot of people will come in and they have buildup because they work out a lot. And they pull their hair back a lot in ponytails, so they really don't have breathing room for the scalp.
Yes.
During the week. So that is some of the reasons you may see buildup. But again, like you said, I think if you know that you're prone to build up, be more proactive
Yes.
with it and give your scalp definitely a little bit more tender love and care when you are shampooing, meaning parting it, separating it in sections, and make sure you're really getting in there, because the worst thing you could do is shampoo but still have buildup
Girl.
on the scalp. That just escalates consistently. So
real quick.
One of those things, yeah, you definitely want to make sure you dive into it. And again, if you feel as though it's something that you can't really manage, then it's always good to seek a professional to help you with that, to make sure that your scalp is healthy too, because I think that's important as well when it comes to hair.
Oh yeah.
Not only taking care of the hair strands, but taking care of the scalp, because that's where the hair grows from.
You need good ground.
Good ground and soil. So to make sure that your hair is flourishing and growing, we want to make sure we take care of it literally from the roots to the ends.
Yes.
When it comes to just basic maintenance.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said all that, because like that is the whole thing. Like I think a lot of people wait until it's too bad. So I think when we are knowing our situation, we have to address our situation specifically and not just do what everyone else does. So some people can wear protective styles for a long time without shampooing their hair. Some people can't. Like some people have to shampoo their hair in protective styles, and I honestly suggest it, especially if you're going to have it for a long time, because that's when the hair gets super dry when you take it out, when it has not been washed and it's just been like sitting together in a dry state. And that's when it breaks easily when you're taking your braids out, because it has no moisture to allow the strands to move freely when you take it out. So I will say I recommend shampooing when you're in a protective style at least every 2 weeks, just so like your hair stays moist. Not so moist that it's wet, because that will give you mildew and stinky smells. Like, you know, especially like she said, like if you work out and you keep your hair in a ponytail and your hair traps all that moisture, that also can give you like stinky smells and mildew smells. So you definitely want to make sure your hair is dry if you're washing your hair after protective style when you're done. But the biggest thing is like making sure like it doesn't get to a point where your scalp gets inflamed with a lot of buildup. Like wash your hair, please. And I think you'll feel a big difference with your scalp. If you have issues with buildup, you won't have as much because you're cleansing that out. So I think that's a whole thing.
Yeah, I definitely agree, because even like I know personally for my scalp, when it comes to protective styles, I can't keep them in long. Haley has had her beautiful. We started at the same time. I had to take mine out. She still has hers because I know that my scalp just does not tolerate that kind of thing. So again, dive into knowing your hair, creating a relationship with your hair, and that way when you know things are kind of off, you know how to address it, or even seek a professional when you are having issues with your hair. Because again, the last thing you want to do is have a situation where your hair is changing and you kind of ignore it, and it could be something deeper than just surface level. So it's always good to be aware of your changes of your hair, and just again seeking a professional, because we can also give you advice on, hey, you may want to get this checked out, or hey, try this product versus the other. So also when it comes to shampooing your hair, how often should you shampoo your hair?
That's debatable too.
That's another
I've never
debate.
been real fast. Did you want one?
I'm good.
Okay, cool. My bad.
Yes, that's another huge question that we always hear all the time about how often should you shampoo your hair. Some people, they're like, oh, once a month, or maybe every other week, or some people, they may do it every other day. When is too less and too much?
Okay. So, our beautiful brown people sometimes don't shampoo a lot because of the fear of the hair becoming dry from over shampooing. I believe it's the complete opposite. Like, I think your hair gets dry from not shampooing enough. I think hydration only happens with the shampoo. Moisturizing happens after the shampoo. So hydration is internal. When we're talking about shampooing, hydration only happens when water gets into the strands where moisture goes on top of the strand. So you do want to shampoo if you really want your hair to stay moist longer, because internally, if it's dry, no matter what you put on, it's not really going to stay moist. So that's my spiel on shampooing. How often? I would say the best case scenario would be once a week. That's like ideal. Now we all have busy lives. We know, it gets pushed out. So at the most, every 2 weeks. Like that's something that's common because of, we don't want to style our hair sometimes every week. Especially if you have like intricate styles that you keep. I would say every 2 weeks is ideal for you. But if you are a wash and go girl, or if you are a girl who does like twist outs, let's do once a week. If you're doing blowouts, let's do once a week. I definitely say that helps with the hair being more limber, more easy to manage, more easy to detangle. And I also feel like it gets your hair into a routine. It gets your hair used to being cleansed and detangled. And it makes it easier for people when they're starting to style their hair more often. They get through those hangups and learn how to manage their hair better. So if that's your story, if you're stressed about doing your hair, definitely start washing your hair more. And you'll see it starts to be more manageable. It starts to act better. It starts to detangle more easily because you train your hair. You teach it what to do. So if you're not shampooing often, of course you're going to have a hard time. But if you start doing it more, it becomes a lot easier. So I would say 1 to 2 weeks.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I always say your hair has a personality. Yes, sometimes it will fight with you.
Yes.
But honestly, if you have a good relationship with your hair, you can easily train it to do what you want it to do.
Amen.
And again, that starts with, weekly care, whether it's shampooing, conditioning, and then also providing treatments as well, and also taking care of your internal too.
Yes.
That definitely is a reflection of your hair also. So I definitely think, again, don't overthink the process and don't be afraid to dive into it, because again, you will see your hair flourish if you get it on a consistent routine of shampooing, conditioning, and then applying the appropriate products throughout the week. Your hair is going to flourish.
Yes.
And I think a lot of, just because of time, or people feel as though they don't know how to do their hair, that can trigger them to not even want to dive into it. But I promise you, give it some time, be comfortable with it, love your hair at its original state, and I promise you, your hair is going to flourish. And again, all else fails, you have professionals here.
We're here for you.
We're here for you. We can guide you and give you the appropriate steps when it comes to taking care of your hair. And of course, we always take care of your hair here. So don't be afraid to dive into those resources as well.
Yes.
Do you have any other final tips for the people when it comes to products?
No, I feel like you gave us like so much to think about. I feel like when it comes to products, we always want to think of why before we apply. That should be a whole quote. Think of why before you apply, because I think people just know, oh, I need product, and just put product in and layer and do all this mixing, and it's like, what are you doing? Why? Why? It's just like cooking. When you're cooking, you don't just add anything in the pot. You think about why you're adding this. Why do you need this ingredient? What is it going to do to the whole meal? So in your hair, when you're thinking of putting in products, you have to think of why you're using it. What is going to do to your overall style or your overall hair care? Because half the time we hurt ourselves more than help ourselves when we mix things that don't go together, and when we add more than we need to. Less is more. So products, less is more. I would say with styling, 3 should be enough in most cases.
Yes.
3 should get you there. You can do an extra like 4th just to finish if you needed. But for the most part, your foundation of your style should only be about 3 products. So if you're using more than 3, then that's something that we need to think about, like why are you using so many? So that would be the final thought I would add. Just less is more. Like, don't go crazy with products. Think about why, and if you're not sure on which products, we're here. Like, ask us. You know, I'd rather you ask before you buy than get things that you don't need, with no purpose, and then you don't even get the results you wanted. And I'm gonna finish by adding this comment because it just made me think about it. Leave-in conditioners are not stylers, okay? I repeat, leave-in conditioners are not stylers, because I hear so many people saying, I did my wash and go with the leave-in, or I did my twist out with the leave-in. And even though I appreciate that they're using these products, a leave-in is good for you, it's not a styler. So you're not going to get longevity, you're not going to get hold. Those things don't come from a leave-in. That is just moisture for your hair. You need to use a styling product for styles, okay? So I just wanted to add that because I feel like in our community, sometimes we just know moisture is good. You know, it's something our hair needs, but it doesn't give us our longevity and hold that we always pray for. So you want to use a styling product. My favorite is the honey almond foam. I'm sure y'all have seen that a lot from me. But depending on what you like to do with your hair, it could be like a gel. It could be a styling cream. Something that adds additional hold. But I just wanted to give y'all that insight. Leave-in is not a styler. It is a foundation when it comes to your hair. That's all I have.
That is true. That was a good ending note. Again, if you guys have any questions, thank you so much for taking the time to look at this video and understand products a little bit more when it comes to applying them to your hair. If you have any other questions or hot topics that you would like to dive into, or just have questions in general, don't hesitate to follow us at Lovely's Hair, and then also follow me at Bijan Beauty. We hope to see you guys more often with hot topics on our hair and how to maintain our beautiful looks always.
Yes,
so,
queen.
Until next time.
Yes.
See you later.
Thank you, guys. Let's get this party going. Let's see.